Now here we are going to see how to associate an ASP label with a text box or other form control. To associate a label with the text box or other form control, we can use associate control ID property of the label control and set its value as the text box name or any ASP.NET Server control name. Now let us see this. We are on here label page.aspx, and in this I have a label and I have specified its associated control ID property to the txt first name text box that is here. Now what will happen is that when I will click this particular label text, then this text box will get selected. Let's say this. Now I'm going to click this first name and you will notice that the cursor will appear into this text box. That proves the fact that this particular first name label has been associated with this text box. Now if you go to the code behind, you will notice that this particular first name is now wrapped with the label HTML label control, not a span tag. Normally what happens, normally when we write any text into the ASP label control, it is wrapped with a span tag, but as soon as you will specify associated control ID, then a span tag will not be there, but that particular text of the ASP label control will be wrapped with the label control, and that label will be associated with the text box that you had specified into the associated control ID. The next how to we are going to see is how to write HTML content from the server side to ASP.NET page. In order to write HTML content from the server side to ASP.NET page, we can use the literal control. Okay, let's see this with example. Here is my literal page, and in this page I have a literal control. In this literal control I have specified text is equal to this is written from the AS text page, and this is this string is wrapped with the bold tag. So what will happen is, as soon as I will browse this page, you will notice that the output of this particular page will come into the bold. Sorry, let me go ahead and again see the source code. Now let's come here. Now here you can see that this is written from ASPX page is wrapped with the bold. Exactly, it is coming exactly same as I have written it on the ASPX page. Okay. Now here the difference between the label control and the literal control. If I would have used the label control, this text would have wrapped into the span tag. But because here I have written to the literal control, so whatever text I will specify into the literal control, that will exactly come onto the web page. The next how to is that how to write encoded text on the web page. Okay, in order to write encoded text on the web page, we can specify mode property of the literal control to encode. Okay, let's see this with example here. So here is my literal control, literal 3, and its mode property is written as encode, and in the code behind what I'm doing is that I am writing label3.text is equal to this should not appear in bold. Why? Because mode property is specified as encode. So what will happen is that all the HTML tags will be encoded and it will appear as it is into the browser. So you can see here is that this label 3 is appearing as it is into the browser. Ideally this B and B should have converted into the bold tag, and this particular text should have come into the bold style, but it will not, because I have specified mode property of the literal control to encode. So it will get HTML encoded. Now let us see this, the source code. You can see here the source code. This should not come into the bold, and the less than and greater than symbol is getting encoded. And that's why it is appearing as it is on the browser here. Okay, the next how to is related with a text box. text box control is basically used to display a text box on the web page, and that is used to take the input from the user. Okay, now how to programmatically set the text box value and get the text box value. In order to programmatically set the text box value and get the text box value, we can access the text property. So if we have to set the value, then we will write text box ID. In my case it is txt first name dot text is equal to, and whatever string or whatever text I want to specify, I can write it here. In order to retrieve the text box value, we can use any string variable and then txt first name dot text. So in order to set, we can set the value. In order to retrieve, we can simply access that property, text property, and we will be able to access it. Let's see here. Now in this case, I have a ASP text box, and its ID is txt first name runAt equal to server. This will simply bring a text box. And in the code behind of this page, what I am doing is that in the page load event I am writing txt first name dot text. So what it will do is that this will write this particular string into the text box, and in the next, this particular line of code will retrieve the value of the text box, and it will store that value into the first name string variable. Let us browse this page, and you will see that in this text box it is coming set code set from code behind. See here, set from code behind is written, and that is exactly appearing into the text box. And now the next how to render a password type text box. In order to write or in order to render a password type text box, we can specify text mode is equal to password, and that what it will do is that it will bring the text box into the password mode, so that whatever you will type, that will that particular character will not appear, but only dot will appear. So let's see this. In this page I have a text box whose text mode is password. Here you can see that password and text box txt password runAt equal to server and text mode equal to password. Now when I will run this page, and I will if I want to write anything into this password box, it will not appear here. Okay, but the dot will appear only. So this is the way to render a password text box on the browser by specifying the text mode property to password. Now in this how-to, we are going to see how to specify the autocomplete type of the text box and what is the use of it. Okay, autocomplete type is a kind of intelligence to the text box that appears when a user tries to type characters into the text box. This helps in faster inputting data to the HTML form. In order to specify certain category of autocomplete type that is shared across all the web pages, we can specify autocomplete type property of the text box. Now this property is valid only for the text box, not for the password text box or multi-line text boxes. Okay, in order to share all categories of autocomplete type to the text box, set its value as none. It means that I want this particular text box to share all the intelligence, all category of intelligence all category of autocomplete type intelligence. Then we can set its property as none. So what it will do is that it will share all type of autocomplete type. See here, all these types of autocomplete type will be shared to this particular text box. Okay. If we want to disable the autocomplete feature of the text box, we can set its property as disabled. And if we want a certain type of autocomplete to display for a particular text box, we can select from the enumeration value that appears in the Visual Studio. For example, company department. You can see here is that in this image, these enumerations of autocomplete type is appearing. If I want my autocomplete type of this particular text box to company, then I can select company here, and all the company related autocomplete type for this text box will appear as an IntelliSense. Now let us see this with example here. First, what I'm going to do is that I am going to specify its autocomplete type to first name. Okay, that's is basically the value from the IntelliSense. Now when I will refresh this page and when I will try to enter my date some character here, you can see that I'm getting the IntelliSense. It's a kind of autocomplete. In a lazy word we can say now IntelliSense. Now if I don't want this particular IntelliSense or autocomplete type autocomplete, then we can specify this to disabled. And now when I will refresh this page and try to write anything here, you can see that I am not getting any IntelliSense. Now if I want to share IntelliSense or autocomplete type of all categories, then I can specify none here, and you will notice that all different kinds of whatever I had written here, whatever I'm trying to write it here with autocomplete type of different categories are appearing as IntelliSense of this particular text box.